Brad Langille, CEO of GoGold, and today we're talking about our company in Mexico and some exciting new developments.
Exciting new developments?
Yeah.
Thank God you're here.
Yeah.
What are they?
Well, one of the most exciting things is probably that, after a long drought, it looks like permits are really starting to move.
Okay.
And with a new president, and she went in October 1st, she is out there and doing basically what they told us they were going to do in a meeting we were in November with the subsecretary of their environmental authority and with the director of mines. They said that you'll see permits start to move, maybe first a lot of the ongoing operational permits, and then they have a short list of new permits that they're working on, and we're quite sure they're working on them right now, and we hope to get some news out of that in the near future.
Okay, brilliant. So it's easy to forget. Claudia Scheinbaum's only been in since October.
October 1st, yeah.
People are expecting things to be happening at speed, and I guess they are. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they are happening. Yeah, there have been permits issued on ongoing operations, and one of the real relevant permits, I think, for us, Alamos Gold, they were issued a permit for a 2,000 ton a day underground mine. Now, it's ongoing operations because it's in an area that they had already disturbed. They had an open pit there. But that's exactly what we're asking for. We're asking for a 2,000 ton a day bulk underground mine in Los Ricos South. We've done the engineering. We have a final feasibility study has been issued and what's called a front-end engineering design that even takes it to the next level. You start doing the more detailed engineering there. So we're ready to go with a piece of paper in hand. $227 million to build it is not an issue for us. We have lots of money in the bank. $76 million as of last quarter and growing. We have lots of term sheets in front of us. It's almost a competitive process, people wanting our business. It's a great asset, good economics, and a strong balance sheet.
Okay. When you say business, you mean wanting to give you the money.
That's it, wanting to give us the money.
Great, competitive tension hopefully kind of keeps the cost down or keeps pencils sharpened.
Cost down, and it's also cost of capital, obviously very, very important, but it's flexibility of capital because we have lots more exploration in Los Ricos. And, we're doing some of that right now. In Los Ricos South, we're doing some of that exploration very near to our reserves. So I think that should be very exciting in the coming months.
So remind me this, so the feasibility study said that the capex is 225 you said?
225. 227 million.
227 million, okay. And then that's got contingency in there, presumably, already.
Yes,
so when you say 12%.
Yeah.
12%, right. So with flexibility around the capital, is the interesting bits. You got 76 in the bank already, right?
Right.
So you'd be looking to, presumably, what do you think the debt equity ratio is going to look like?
Well, really, we have the equity portion of it. We have enough equity there.
Yeah.
And then it could be, there's several ways we could go. And this is where the flexibility comes in. You could go with a more conventional bank. And of course, it'll be a little bit tighter there in the covenants and what they allow you to do.
The securitization and so forth, right.
What they allow you to do as far as we want to keep the growth going here.
Yeah.
We're at about 2 million ounces a year right now in Parral. Yeah. Los Ricos South would add another 7.4 million ounces a year at all-in sustaining around $12. And we have our Los Ricos North project as well, which is it's an early stage study today. There's total resources up there of 161 million, but we want to be able to move on to the next level of study and apply for permit for Los Ricos North. So you want to be able to go from 2 million ounces to 9 million ounces and Los Ricos North to bring us to 15 to 17 million ounces. So that's growth. So we want to get good cost of capital. We will get good cost of capital, but the private equity world as well. And there's people we've worked with there before when we built things. They offer packages that would be, it's like debt. Maybe they would like to invest some money in equity as well. And the only other thing we might look at is we produce a very little amount of copper in Los Ricos South, and it's all a byproduct of a SART plant, which is just to regenerate cyanide, byproduct, a little bit of copper. Maybe they'd stream the copper, because we're all about the silver and gold.
So, okay, there's kind of like eking around the edges a little bit. I guess the question I want to ask you is like, oh, so with 76 in the bank, how flexible are they going to be with the amount of money made available to you? Because we bankers love to offer guys like you umbrellas when it's sunny. Meaning that, we're in a good moment, you're in a very good place, and we can negotiate a little bit harder. Because the exploration component here up at Los Ricos North is potentially quite exciting as well.
Right. You're right.
Right? Because we were talked about that kind of conjoining of these assets. So how much money would you want to try and raise, and, under what sort of conditions?
Well, really probably one total package of, around 150 million.
Okay.
Yeah, and 150 to 175. Now, remember, we are making money every month with Los Ricos, or with Parral. So
higher and higher each quarter.
Yes.
Going well.
And every month we're seeing free cash flow about 1.5 million plus.
Right.
So we think with a package like that, around there, and we'll just see how some things develop in Los Ricos South, because really we've started to do a little bit of exploration around the reserves. In one area in particular, if you look back at the deposit in Los Ricos South, there's an area that other company back about 100 years ago that they mined, and they mined it for 22 years. Very, very profitable mine, very good mine, and that was in a strike length of the structure that we've drilled on and explored on. That was about 500 meters. Then north of there, we found our very rich Eagle part of the deposit, we've discovered that. It wasn't mined before. But back to where they mine, they stopped to the south because there's a fault. They cut everything off, and the structure disappeared. So the question was, where did it go? And we've looked at that, and we came up with a theory that maybe it got displaced to the west. So we've been in there just with one drill rig right now, and we've just been doing a fence line, stepping further and further to the west. And we found a structure again. Now we got to wait for assays. Let's see what it is. But good broad structure, looking very much like the structure to the north of that fault. So what that does for us, while we're building this mine for 24 months, if we have some good exploration luck there, won't it be an exciting story during the build if we're grid drilling off that newly found structure to the south? And if it ends up being real good, good grade, and it'll just put that sizzle back in while we're building a mine, I think that could be very exciting.
What's the extension like?
About 500 meters, a missing piece. Yeah.
And what's the vein look like?
Well, the vein is, it looks identical, or very similar to what we see on the north side of the fault.
Right.
Very broad. We drilled and we saw a zone of about 30 meters, and we saw 13 meters that was very, very interesting.
Right.
Looks like some strong mineralization. But all these things, you wait till you get the assays. But, our guys have drilled 250,000 meters, and they've seen all that core. So they're pretty excited.
So what do you say to the market? Say that comes off and is what you think it is, right? How do you signal to the market what that means to you? Not just in terms of contained metals, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of how it fits in with the kind of big prize, which is, let's get this thing built in Los Ricos South, right? Because people that last year we saw the companies got rewarded those kind of advanced near-term stories, and the producers clearly, money started flowing.
Right.
The build period will take, I don't know, what is it, 18, 24 months?
24 months and about 6 months to ramp up to full production.
Okay. And an environment like we're seeing for gold and silver at the moment, that's happy days. Everyone's pleased about that one. But specifically this kind of the missing piece, as it were, how do you fit that into the equation of the build bit? How do you monetize it other than it's a great story with some nice grades?
Yeah, like if you think of the positioning of it, and if it proves out to be what we hope, and you have that 500 meters, where if you look at the 500 meters, 50 meters north of that fault, that was a 22 years of mining for that other company down to 850 meters. They were in very high grade. And the closest hole we drilled to that fault, we were in like approximately 21 meters of 2 kilos.
Right. Okay.
So that fault happened after the mineralization was formed.
Right.
So that's why we're excited about finding that other piece.
Yeah.
Because you just imagining for a moment that it does prove out to be like the material north of that fault. Mm-hmm. It's so close. How much would the development be to develop into a mine, to develop into that from a mine we're already building, and the development's there? It might only be a few hundred extra meters, and then you're into something that has the potential of being pretty special.
And from what you know of what went before, I don't know what historic data you got access to. Was this thing pinch and swell? Is it fairly consistent?
It does. It pinches and swells, and if you look at to the north of this, in the area that we discovered, to the north of where they mined, you're talking about something that's truly incredible grades, incredible widths. Like we drilled holes like 55 meters at 2.7 kilos of silver equivalent. And yes, it pinches and swells. Sometimes it's very wide with very high grade, and sometimes it pinches down, but overall, it gives us average width of 11 meters.
Yeah.
That's with 31% dilution built into it as we move to reserves.
Yeah.
And 11 meters that you can sub-level long hole, bulk mine, and have costs at $12 all in sustaining.
Right.
So let's find more of that, and let's find it right beside the mine we're building.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's an as well rather than instead of thing, right? Because what we got is good. And I want to kind of
good point. Yeah.
Right. So I want to get back to that's a great Christmas present. Once you deliver that, that's fantastic. But the kind of financing you talked about, it feels like you've got options there.
We have lots of options, and that's why, if you think about the company, and obviously we're going to have a team that just puts their head down and gets that mine built. But if on parallel with that, you can have a team that's doing that exciting exploration, not just in Los Ricos South, get Los Ricos North ready, because the amazing would be if in 30 months, or call it 36 months, that it has a permit, it's ready to build, and Los Ricos South is in full commercial production. Full commercial production, if you look at the sensitivities, it makes in the range of $150 to $175 million in its second year of after-tax free cash flow. You can pay off any debt pretty quick with that kind of cash flow coming in, and then maybe be in a position to go and build the north. And in the south, that other parallel team, they just put their head down and do what we did a year and a half ago, which was having some of the most exciting exploration in the silver business. So the two together, I think, is a winning combination. Also, if you look at the lay of the landscape, the market a couple years ago was not rewarding as well for, or more recently, not rewarding as well for exploration success. The metal price started going up, and then all the producers were really getting rewarded. Now I see that the explorers are starting to get some energy around them again. So we want to have both. We want to have a great exploration program. Beside the mine we're building, we'll have that energy, and we'll have the energy of increasing our production substantially. 2 million becomes plus 9 million. It's I think it's quite a combination.
Let's go back to last year. A bit of M&A happening. Certainly with the kind of pure play or the substantively silver play companies. Some extraordinary valuations. They said there's not a lot of these around, but these are all existing ounces. I think that's probably the shame of it. It didn't sort of shake up the market in that sense. It's just a different name, right? Yeah,
you look at some deals that went down, and your Silvercrest deal, great mine, in production, they generate lots of cash. I think they probably had 5 to 6 years of reserves left. You look at Los Gatos, another deal. Yeah. And when you look at what they sold for as a multiple to their net asset value, Silvercrest was 1.7 times. It was a $1.7 billion deal. Los Gatos was 2 times. The silver space, and we are a real silver company, well, with a gold name, but we are a silver company. And we're about 60% of our value in silver. It's a pretty small group. There's not a lot out there to pick from.
Smaller is my point.
Yeah, it got smaller.
Right.
Yeah, that's right, with the M&A.
Yeah.
So, never to say never. I'm a very large shareholder. I think I'm the second largest reporting shareholder in the company. We're heavily institutional, about 50%, plus a lot of great retail shareholders and high net worth individuals. And I think that the point there is we're open to anything that's going to really make good money for the shareholders.
Yeah, certainly if you can repeat those sorts of multiples from last year. But, when you've also in an environment where there's not a lot of choice or optionality on the table in terms of who else is kind of left now, and you're talking about new ounces,
right?
Much significantly de-risked with the optionality of this exploration upside. We talked about one very good example there, this 500 meter strike.
Yep.
That's got to get exciting for not just institutional investors, but industry as well. And I'm trying to think, at what point do they like to come in? Is it after you've done the heavy lifting on the build? Is it pre that? I mean, how do you read the market at the moment?
I think there's different players are looking for different things. Mm-hmm. And back to that equation, we said Silvercrest 1.7 times net asset values. If we can increase on both sides of that equation, the net asset value, which you're saying, and the exploration, and we have that real good multiple times net asset value. What do I think? I think there's different players out there. Some are very happy for GoGold to take all the risk out, build it, and just become a cash flowing machine with a lot of growth too. With a lot of growth in the exploration, and they're willing. They would pay up for that. Or you might have other people. And there's always people around kicking the tires. My whole career of 32 years, that's the way it always is. But you might have some other people who show up in the scene and they say, we're builders. We see this. We're willing to pay you a real good price, and we'll take it from there. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. We have our heads down to build mines and to explore, find more ounces. I'm just saying we're always open to opportunities and to really increase value for the shareholder. And by the way, I'm a very large one. So, I think I'm well aligned with our shareholders. Yeah.
It's kind of, if I look at the silver market, the smaller guys, they kind of, let's say the sub 100 million market cap at the moment. Mm-hmm. It's almost fractured in a way. I think there's going to be a lot of knavery along the side of the road, because the markets are tough. Raising money is tough. People's belief in silver is I think good. Mm-hmm. That is silver's stopped off at this price point now. Do you think that the market for silver will improve, or is it just silver is not impervious to the retail market having discarded juniors? Is that an opportunity for people like you, or does it? Or you want to begin focused on this? But let's focus on us. We'll worry about that later. Mm-hmm. How do you treat the market at the moment? Because
I'm probably a person who's more focused on what we're doing. Very focused on what we're doing. I look at the market and silver price. It seemed to if it could break out of that $35, $36, mm-hmm. I think we'd be maybe we're on the way to 40 or 50. But I think you can't do much about that. A couple of things you can't do much about. Somebody comes with a great offer. That's somebody else's boardroom. The silver price goes to $50. Well, we don't have any control over that, right? What we have control about is doing great technical work, building mines, finding ounces. Those are the things we have control over. So we'll focus on all of that. I would just say, we'll see what comes, and we'll look at every opportunity and evaluate things. And you mentioned a lot of companies out there in the silver space. You're right, to find it hard to raise money. We're very fortunate. We've been at this for a long time. We built a lot of mines. We've done a lot of transactions, and even in GoGold, with our last transaction, we sold a project to Agnico Eagle. So I'll say we can do it all. But we'll control the things that we can control, and we're open to whatever may come and evaluating opportunities.
Look, maybe you partially answer my next question, which is, if I believe in the silver thematic, if I believe that as an industrial metal, it's got a ways to go with the use of solar panels, etc., and that, I don't know what happens in the secondary market in terms of silver as a byproduct, but there's a kind of delta there in terms of that demand versus supply. Why is yours the best silver option that I could invest in? Why am I not a silver ETF? Why am I not physical? Why you? What's left?
I would say traditionally the companies have had the best leverage to the commodity price.
Yeah.
You can buy the physical, you can buy the ETF. I would say if you look at the companies, then you have to get more specific into teams, and you say which companies, because the risk of looking at the companies obviously is that you have to kind of go through the various companies and see what their expertises are. Our expertise is you have an experienced management team who've done it before. You have the support of the market, as far as the equity markets, the lending markets. We've done a lot of that before. We've raised a lot of money. I think in my career, probably in the range of $1.5 to $2 billion equity. We've done hundreds of millions of dollars of debt deals with private equity, with in the past big banks, the Scotiabanks and the BMOs. So we've done all that. And really, it's a very technical business. It goes back to team again. You have to have strong technical guys. We have a lot of promotion in this industry, and you have to be able to look past the promotion and say, what guys have done this before? How good is their technical work? Have they built mines? Have they found a lot of ounces? Have they transacted? I believe we bring all of that. And there's a lot of risk in this business, but you mitigate your risks by looking at those things. And you mitigate your downside risk and commodity price by a team that will pick high margin projects. So that's why I would propose GoGold is a great option if you want exposure to the silver space.
Okay, we're just waiting for that permit. It's imminent, and that releases the hounds.
Shovel ready. We need a piece of paper. I believe we will get that piece of paper. I don't think it's way out in the future. It could be 30 days from now, 190 days from now. But I do believe that it's not a question, will we get the permit? It's not a question, does the Mexican government want to give permits? I think they're going through their list.
Yep.
They're doing their work. I believe we're on the short list, and I think we'll get that permit over the coming months.
Good man.
Great.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for the update. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Should be a good year.
Yeah, really think so.